Welcome back to another episode of the Bad Influence Podcast. I'm Jordan Banderas. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that follow, subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my episodes. On today's episode, I want to address an important question that I was asked recently. And that question is it okay to reevaluate my relationship? Now, given the current dating scene where some people remain in relationships just to avoid feeling lonely, I believe discussing this particular topic is something that needs to happen. Because I have seen so many relationships from friends and co-workers and people that I know that they literally just stay on their relationship just because they don't want to be alone. They don't want to feel lonely, and they feel like they're sometimes trapped on the relationship. Like the relationship is not going anywhere. So my answer to this particular question is a definite yes. It is absolutely okay to reevaluate your relationship, because if you don't, how else would you know if the relationship is heading in the way or in the direction that you want it to go? Right? Because you may have goals, you're going to have ideas, you're going to have things happening during your life within the relationship that you may want to try, you may want to do something else, and maybe your partner doesn't want to do that. And personally, I try to have an open and honest conversation with my wife to know what the state of our relationship is and identify areas that we need to work on. Because here's the thing about relationships. Relationships evolve over time. We don't stay the same all the time during the relationship. Sometimes we change the way that we think. Sometimes we change the way that we dress. Sometimes we change everything about ourselves within the relationship, and our partners may not like that. So, in my opinion, it's okay to see where you stand with each other and pivot if you need to, because it also helps to make the necessary changes for the relationship to thrive. And I think it's very important to realize that reevaluating your relationship is not just about you, it's for the two of you, the two people in the relationship. Because if it's not going anywhere, why are you going to stay somewhere where you don't want to be, or that you don't even feel welcome or anything like that, right? And here's the thing though. Right now, it's easy to watch how the dynamics of relationships have shifted. That's why it's also important to reevaluate your relationship, because with the increasing focus on personal growth, career aspirations, and caring for children, people often find themselves juggling too many priorities at once. You know, you have to go to work, you have to pay your bills, you have to take care of the kids, you have to take care of yourself. Like, there's so many things happening throughout our days that sometimes all of these priorities can pose challenges for any relationship, as there may not be enough time to spend with your partner. There may not be enough time for you guys to connect. There may not be enough time for you guys to talk, because at the end of the day, you guys are going to be tired. And especially when there are differing goals within the relationship, that can actually lead to a lack of attention towards one of the partners in the relationship, you know? And when one of the people in the relationship is unhappy within the relationship, it becomes crucial to reevaluate the relationship as a whole. Because when you're unhappy, you're not gonna like you're not gonna like where the relationship is heading. Probably you're gonna feel this lack of attention or anything like that. You're not going to enjoy the relationship as much as you should. For example, if your partner is excessively focused on their career, neglecting the time and attention you require to connect, you need to either understand and support them with whatever they are working on or wherever they want to get to in their life, or, and this is a very touchy gray area according to the people that I talk to, because the other thing that you will have to do is rethink what you want to do within the relationship and rethink where you want to be in that relationship, because you may want to even consider leaving the relationship because such circumstances can breed resentment. If your partner in this situation, let's say it's hyper focused on their goals, they are literally focused on their goals, they're like, I want to do this for us, I'm going to make us a lot of money so we can spend time together. Well, in between, you may not get the attention that you deserve. You may not get the time with your partner that you deserve. So that can actually create this resentment. And one of the things that I tell people when they talk to me about the relationship and they tell me like, oh, I feel like my partner is not listening to me, they're not taking care of my needs or things like that, I tell them this. Ask yourself this question. And the question is, why would I stay in a relationship where my needs are unmet? And depending on the answer that you give yourself, then you need to either stay and help them with their goals, like support them, or the other option is to literally just walk away from the relationship because you're unhappy. Because the thing is that in the relationship, both people have to be happy. It can't be just one person being happy. If, like I mentioned, the other person is unhappy, there's going to be resentment. And here's the thing about this, though. I've witnessed, that's why I wanted to talk about this. I've witnessed cases where relationships ended with both parties having massive resentment due to similar situations, like I mentioned. Like, it gets pretty bad. They go through divorces, they go through like breakups, and they hate each other. All because there was this miscommunication, or there was like one of the partners didn't really focus on the other partner to get to know them, to get to, understand them and things like that. So that can create a lot of issues. However, you can avoid such bitterness by reevaluating your relationship and making informed decisions to part ways or to work on the relationship. But that's a decision that you have to make. And sometimes you have to tell your partner how you feel and what you think the relationship should go, or where the relationship should go, or where you want it to go. That way you guys can actually talk about it, sit down and understand what needs need to be met within the relationship. Now, because of this topic, I want to share this story since it fits right into what reevaluating your relationship means. So recently, a friend of mine got divorced. She went through a divorce after being married for 3 years. They got married when they were 18, okay? So here's what happened. From the beginning, my friend said, I want to have children. That's my ultimate goal. She expressed that very early on in the relationship. So now the ex-husband knew, but when they got married, he said like, you know what? I don't want to have children right now. That's not my ultimate goal. I think we're too young, which they were, they were 18. So they decided to wait 3 years. They sat down with each other, they talked, they reevaluated the relationship and said like, you know what? Let's wait 3 years and see what happens within those 3 years. And at the end of the 3 years, we can actually reevaluate the relationship and see where we stand. Right? And I think that's great, because what happened in this situation after the 3 years passed, they sat down They talked about where they stand with their goals, if they still want to have children or where the relationship is going. And they realized that their goals remain far apart. She still wanted to have children. He didn't. He didn't want to have children. He's like, I don't want to have children. That's not something that I honestly want. Now, the wife, my friend, is like, well, I do want to have children. That's my ultimate goal. And I want to have multiple children. So because of this, and after all the talk that they did and everything, they decided to divorce each other. Now, they have both moved on without harboring any hatred towards each other. Like, they're actually dating and everything. They're doing their own thing. So that actually helped the relationship. Having those types of conversations helped them realize that they were not meant for each other. They were not going to understand each other when it comes to the goals within the relationship. And doing something like this reminded me of that quote from Paulo Coelho that says, if you are brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. That's pretty much what reevaluating your relationship does. If you do this, you sat down with your partner, you reevaluate where things are going, where you stand, what your goals are, and realize that you guys are not on the same page, then you guys can actually say, you know what, let's better say goodbye. Let's not harbor any resentment or anything like that. And then you can move on to maybe somebody that is going to help you reach your goals and is going to give you some of the goals that you want, like have children, like in this case. Now, if after hearing this, you decide to reevaluate your own relationship, one of the things that I recommend you to consider is that you and your partner have to create different. You guys have to create a safe space. You guys have to create this safe space where there's no judgment, where your partner and yourself can say what needs to be said without worrying about the other person getting offended. You guys have to literally understand each other without feeling attacked. You guys have to literally listen to the other person without taking it in an offensive way, without saying, oh, this is against me. No, it's not against you. It's pretty much how the other person feels where the relationship is going. That's pretty much what it is. But right now, when people have this type of conversations, and that's why I wanted to address this, is because there are a lot of people that when they try to have conversations like that, they get offended. They get mad. They start yelling. So it creates more problems within the relationship because then you're not listening to the other person. You get offended. The other person shuts down because it's like, I don't want to create any problems. So it creates more problems in the end. But here's one thing that me and my wife do, and I want to share this with you guys because maybe this could work for you. So this is how I reevaluate my relationship with my wife. I express to her that I want to assess our goals and the state of our relationship. We write down our goals and determine how to support each other without getting in each other's way. So that's also important. You have to support each other without getting in their way, which is hard. Believe me, I know it is hard. Sometimes my wife wants to take over things that I'm doing and I want to do the same with her, but you can't do that. You have to let them do their own thing. You can just tell them like, oh, let me give you my opinion. I think this is what you're doing wrong without attacking them. And they also need to understand that you're not attacking them. You're just telling them what they're doing wrong so they can actually get better at what they're doing. So that's pretty much one of the things that we do. Another thing that we do after evaluating our goals is that we reaffirm our commitment to each other. We discuss whether our commitment has changed and express our intentions. For instance, despite my wife's illness, I remain committed to taking care of her, ensuring that she receives the best medical attention and relieving her of any unnecessary stress so she can actually focus on her recovery. Because that's what I want. I want her to get better so she can enjoy her life. That's my main goal within the relationship. And she knows that. So when she needs help, I'm going to help her. When I need to do things so she doesn't have to do them, I'll do them. I'll water the lawn, I'll mow the lawn, I'll weed eat the lawn, I'll do whatever it needs to be done so she can actually get the rest that she needs to get. And lastly, we assess the relationship as a whole. We express appreciation for each other, which is something that I think a lot of relationships nowadays are missing. We don't express our appreciation for our partners. And you may say like, well, why would I do that if he treats me or she treats me like shit? Well, that's something that you need to reevaluate. Why are you staying in that relationship if you're being treated like shit? But if you're not being treated like shit and you have a wonderful partner that takes care of you, wants to see you grow, wants to see you succeed, then you should appreciate that. If you have a partner that goes to work, is loyal, is literally open with you, tells you what's going on in the relationship, then appreciate that. There's nothing wrong with appreciating your partner. Let's be honest. There's nothing wrong with that. Another thing that we do is that we discuss how we feel the relationship is progressing and identify areas for improvement, if any. Because sometimes there's not going to be any areas of improvement, like everything is going well according to us. But if we find an area that needs to improve, like communication, things like that, then we're going to work on it. And that's what you need to do if you decide to reevaluate your relationship. If you find something that needs to be worked on, then work on it. Make the relationship work. Make your best effort or give your best effort towards the relationship. Go all in on the relationship. Grow within the relationship. Because if the relationship stalls, there's no growth, there's no communication, there's nothing, it's going to become boring. And then you're going to get distracted. You're going to start looking for something else. You're going to try to see if the grass is greener on the other side. Because on this side, on your side, the grass probably is dying because it hasn't been watered. That's how I believe relationships are going right now. We don't put attention to our relationships or to our partners, and we don't reevaluate where everything is going. We just think that, okay, well, this is how it is, then I'm just going to stay with it and I'm not going to do anything. Because you may be happy, but your partner may not. So that's very important. And I also believe that engaging in this process, especially with my wife and I, has helped us navigate the challenges that arise in our relationship. So doing all of this may allow you to work on your relationship and understand or discover what you truly seek. When you have this open conversation, you can say how you feel, you can say what's on your mind without the other person getting attacked or feeling attacked. You may actually discover what you want within the relationship or what are you seeking within the relationship. Like my friend who wanted kids, her ex didn't want kids. So they decided to actually, move on from each other, because he's not going to give her kids. She wants kids, so why would she stay? That's pretty much my opinion in regards to this. So remember, it's perfectly okay to reevaluate your relationship because as individuals, We are constantly evolving as our needs and aspirations. So everything about us is going to evolve at one point. Everything around us is evolving. Like there's new ways that people are communicating. So there's all these new things that happen, therapies, whatever. So you're going to grow, and you should grow within your relationship. And by assessing your goals and commitment, you also ensure that your relationship remains a source of love, support, and forwardness, which I also think, I also believe that that's missing in today's relationships. There's no forwardness. There's not this, way of talking to each other that makes the relationship grow even more, because then you will know exactly how your partner feels. Then you will know exactly what you need to do for the relationship to thrive. And that's something that you need to work on if you feel that your relationship is going nowhere. Because I have been there where I felt, and even my wife felt like that we both felt that our relationship was going nowhere. But when we started doing pretty much what I mentioned, we understood that there are things that we need to work on together and individually so we can have the relationship that we have now. And that's pretty much what I wanted to share on today's episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the growth and the feedback. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The links are available in the episode's description. And here are my final thoughts. Reevaluating your relationship is important to maintain your dreams and goals within the relationship. And have a great day.